Chapter 51. I am Shen Ao, the sixth prince of the country of fire. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Shen Tian stared at shopkeeper Song after he finished speaking. The light green halo on shopkeeper Song's head suddenly changed color. It was a darker green now, full of vitality. Shen Tian was relieved. Since shopkeeper Song's Providence had improved, Shen Tian was okay with it. His priority was still at whitening his halo. Since shopkeeper Song already said that this hammer is worth 10,000 spirit stones, I did not take advantage of him anyway. Furthermore, I paid him the entire cost of it. There's no way his providence would not increase. Shen Tian kept the hammer in his Archean C ring and started helping others to find their ores. After a few moments, something good appeared in one of the ores. It was a red stick with two iron balls fixed on the ends. It was a very special weapon. Shopkeeper Song looked at it and deemed it as a middle-grade Dharma artifact, and its worth was about 4,000 spirit stones. The lucky individual that got this Dharma artifact looked at Shen Tian with mixed feelings. In the end, he made up his mind and said, "Master Celestial, I don't have 2,000 spirit stones with me now and thus cannot afford the payment for you." Shen Tian said gently, "It's okay, my service is free. It is not a must to give me part of your shares." The man quickly shook his head and said, "No. You helped me obtain it, so I should pay for you." How about this? I'll sell this artifact to you for just 400 spirit stones." He looked at Shen Tian full of hope. However, Shen Tian's face darkened. He said, "An artifact worth 4,000 spirit stones, and you are selling it to me for 400. He looked at shopkeeper Song and the man suspiciously. Are they trying to con me? Even that shiny hammer is only worth 10,000 spirit stones. This Dharma artifact looks extremely normal and ugly, but it's worth 4,000 spirit stones. Do you think I'm stupid? Are you questioning my intelligence?" It would be a very risky move, and Shen Tian did not want to take it. He said firmly, "So you think I'll take advantage of you like this? Since this is your fortuitous opportunity, you can keep it. There is no need for your payment. It's an insult to me if I take it." Then, Shen Tian walked away. The man was frightened. How did shopkeeper Song manage to sell the purple golden hammer at such a low price? Why does it not work with my red meteor hammer? Master Celestial doesn't even want my money. Is he mad at me? So I've made a fool out of myself. And Master Celestial dislikes me now. The man had never felt so regretful before. Lucky Man B looked at him and silently took out a jade bamboo slip and a pen. He started writing something on it. Sharing half of the fortuitous opportunity with Master Celestial. Effect. Weak. Status. Working. Hug on Master Celestial's leg and say we missed him. Effect. Good. Status. Expired. Sell the fortuitous opportunity at a low price to Master Celestial. Effect. Extremely good. Status. Expired. Conclusion. The idea of pleasing Master Celestial must be innovative and creative. Following what others did blindly could have a negative effect. Master Celestial does not like petty advantage. He will only take advantage of great benefits. After writing these down, Lucky Man B keeps the bamboo slip carefully and sighed. Who would have thought that shopkeeper Song was this smart? Why did I not think of such a genius idea? Seems like it is not working now. Sigh. Why am I here when shopkeeper Song could easily replace me? Lucky Man A and Xiong Meng looked at Lucky Man B and shopkeeper Song with admiration. Have they attended cultivation school together before? Why are they so clever? Brother, no worries. I believe you will come up with a better idea soon. I'll listen to whatever you say. As long as I can profit too. Same for me. On the other hand, Master Celestial did not seem too happy. That lucky man just now sold his red meteor hammer to shopkeeper Song and gave the 2,000 spirit stones to Shantian. He planned to give everything to Shantian first as an apology, but Shantian refused to take anything more than half of the full profit. Thus, he could only give 2,000 in the end. He was still afraid that Master Celestial was still angry with him. He does not even want to accept my apology. He must be super angry now. What should I do? Please help. Please. I'm so desperate. Of course, no one offered help to him. Everyone was glad that they were not the one who made that mistake. Otherwise, they would never be fated with Master Celestial again. They would rather suffer instead. Shantian was not affected by it too much. He did not even realize what was happening. His job was just to pick one or after another and let the fortuitous opportunities reveal themselves. Shantian could feel that his head was much lighter. He took out his mirror and realized that his halo was getting cleaner too. There was only a stain of black dot left and a super thin layer of black mist around it. He was confident that his halo would turn completely white by the third day. Everyone supposed to obtain their fortuitous opportunities in the Sky Spirit Pavilion had gotten their goods. Shopkeeper Song sent them off with a huge smile on his face. Although he opened doors for them for free, he did not feel that he had suffered a loss. The 5,000 spirit stones he had gotten were way more than the fees for ore cutting. Furthermore, he had gained Master Celestial's favor for selling the purple golden hammer at a low price. He would definitely have fate with Master Celestial again in the future. As long as there was fate between them, he could strike it rich easily. At least, that was what Shopkeeper Song thought. See. That is called intelligence. Shopkeeper Song said to his son and gave him a slap. You and Master Celestial both are young, but look at yourself. What have you achieved? I'm warning you, do not get into trouble when you go out next time, or I'll break your legs. Young Shopkeeper Song was rendered speechless yet again. A man appeared at the Sky Spirit Pavilion's door. He was wearing a robe with a white dragon on it and had a jade pendant at his waist. He looked quite handsome and seemed like a rich man. Shopkeeper Song quickly approached him. Hello, please come in. May I know how to address you? Is there anything I can help you with? The man was very satisfied with Shopkeeper Song's attitude. He nodded and said, I am Shen Ao, the 6th Prince of the Country of Fire. Chapter 52. I am really the 6th Prince. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I am Shen Ao, the 6th Prince of the Country of Fire. I came here to pick a present for my master. I saw that you had quite some crowds just now. It seems like business is brisk at your shop, so I came here to have a look. After Shen Ao finished his sentence, he saw Shopkeeper Song looking at him weirdly. What? Is there something on my face? Shopkeeper Song broke out of his daze and put on a bright smile. If I didn't hear wrongly, did you just say you are the 6th Prince of the Country of Fire? Shen Ao. Shen Ao looked rather alarmed. Why? Do I not look like a prince? Shopkeeper Song smiled and said, Oh, of course not. It's just that you don't have any evidence. Shen Ao's face blackened. I never have and will not change my name for anything. And I am the disciple of perfected Ziyang from Grand White Grotto, Heaven. Who dares to impersonate me? Shen Ao was extremely displeased. After all, he was the long-sought-after genius from the Country of Fire's royal family, and in no time, he would break through the foundation establishment stage. He could then be accepted into the Grand White Grotto, Heaven. As long as he could be accepted into the Grand White Grotto, Heaven, the greatest of the 36 Grotto, Heavens, it wouldn't be far from him getting to the Golden Core stage. It might even be possible that he could become a nascent soul supremacy eventually. Somebody like him, a Heaven's favored person, was destined to achieve success no matter what. Yet now this mere spirit or shop's shopkeeper dared to suspect his identity. To be honest, he would dearly love to know who had the guts to impersonate him in the whole country of fire. Shen Ao took out a golden token and showed it to shopkeeper Song. This token was made of gold, and there was a red dragon imprinted on it. The red dragon looked very majestic with its terrible claws, and one could feel a strong sense of fire divinity emanating from the pure gold token. Shopkeeper Song's brows creased. "Sir, can you let me examine this token more carefully?" Shen Ao felt even more uncomfortable. "You are suspecting that this royal token is fake." He snorted and flung the token on the table. Examine it closely then." Shopkeeper Song nodded and scrutinized the token. "SSS, this craftsmanship, these engraving skills. Such great imitation." Shen Ao's lips twitched. "What did you say?" Shopkeeper Song coughed and said, this token is real indeed." Shen Ao kept his token. That's right. How disappointing all this is." After that comment, he turned and proceeded to leave the shop. After all, there were spirit or shops all around offering the services he required. Why must he choose this shop? This shop's shopkeeper was not only naggy but even dared to suspect his identity. This was an insult which Shen Ao had never, ever felt in the whole of his life before. And for the rest of his life, he decided he would never think any good of this shop again. Shopkeeper Song was visibly anxious when he saw Shen Ao turning to leave. He hurriedly blocked Shen Ao's path, smiled apologetically, and said, "Your Highness, pray don't be angry with me." Shen Ao let out a cold laugh and said, "I am not angry. I just have a very deep impression of you now." Shopkeeper Song started apologizing continuously. "I am really very sorry, my intentions are just to be extra cautious when it comes to matters concerning the sixth prince of the country of fire. Actually, not only is the country of fire's sixth prince, Your Highness, Shen Ao, the glory of our country, you are also my idol. Yours truly here has always been an admirer of the sixth prince. As such, I am too excited to see Your Highness in real life." When Shen Ao heard these words, the cold expression on his face was replaced with a genuine smile. Curving up his lips contentedly, Shen Ao asked, "Oh, I see. Tell me then, why do you idolize the sixth prince?" Shopkeeper Song commented, "Well, everybody knows, the sixth prince is a genius, a talent whom the country of fire's royal family has been waiting for in almost 100 years. Not only that, but he also has divine eyes and is especially good at judging ores. He can see through all kinds of spirit ores and knows what they contain just by taking a mere look. He's such a rare talent in the spirit or appraiser's industry." Shen Ao beamed with pride upon hearing every sentence of Shopkeeper Song's praises. "Well, I didn't know that I already had such a great reputation in the myriad spirit garden. After all, only those most influential and wealthy figures were able to become famous in the myriad spirit garden, because one could never afford those spirit ores, which required spirit stones in exchange if they did not have that kind of wealth or fame." It was especially satisfying to hear the shopkeeper of Sky Spirit Pavilion sing praises of him. This gave Shen Ao a better sense of accomplishment compared to being praised by those lowly eunuchs in the palace. The puzzling part is, who spread the rumors that I am skilled at judging ores? I am always concentrating on cultivating and improving my chi refinement. Where do I have time to learn those skills? However, since this shopkeeper has such a misunderstanding of my true skills, well, I don't mind letting him continue having this impression. In that case, I doubt he will dare to cheat my money." Shen Ao shook his head in a humble manner while these thoughts raced through his mind. "Oh, where did you hear that? I only know a little bit about judging ores." Shopkeeper Song smiled and said, "Well, may heavens punish me for being so rude to Your Highness just now. How about this? All these ores that are displayed here, they are not befitting of your status. Please make a move to the rooms in my shop. I will offer you some superior tea, and at the same time, your highness can choose any one item from my personal, precious collections of spirit ores. This will be compensation for my rudeness just now. Tnav Om, what do you think of this suggestion, your highness? To be offered tea and then be allowed to choose an item from the shop's most precious collections as compensation. That sounded pretty good. In any case, Shen Ao was planning to choose a treasure for his future master, perfected Zi Yang, as a present. Since this shopkeeper claimed that he's my fan and is so earnest to give me a treasure, then I shall accept it gladly. That's too courteous of you. How can I do that? Shen Ao turned back from the shop's entrance and tried to reject shopkeeper Song's request a few times courteously. You brat, you look after the shop while your father here is serving his highness. Shopkeeper Song handed the shopfront's matters to his son before leading Shen Ao to the interior rooms. Mist rose up from the hot tea while the tea's aroma covered the room in no time. Shopkeeper Song poured tea for Shen Ao in a slow but calm manner. Shen Ao sniffed the tea, smiled, and said, "This is one of the best grade green teas from Bai Luo Peak." Shopkeeper Song put up his thumb at that comment, "Your highness is indeed an expert in the way of tea, I am marveled by you." Shen Ao drank the whole cup of tea and commented, "Shopkeeper, may I know where your collections are?" Shopkeeper Song curved up his lips. "Please, don't be impatient, your highness. Good things come to those who wait." Shen Ao was rather puzzled by this comment. "You mean I still have to wait for an auspicious timing before I can get to see the treasures? Your highness, please don't be impatient. Let's count to 10 with me. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. The smile on shopkeeper Song's face disappeared gradually. Shen Ao realized something was wrong. He felt giddier and giddier. At that moment, he seemed to finally get it, and his face darkened. Spat. "You unscrupulous merchant, you poisoned the tea." Shopkeeper Song took out a whip and a bunch of ropes while sneering all the while. "How dare you, puny and ugly fellow, the audacity of you to impersonate Sir Master Celestial. It's quite amazing how you managed to get that counterfeit of the token. I was almost taken in by it. If not for the fact that I am blessed to have seen Master Celestial's handsome looks before, you might really have fooled me. Lads, come on in, tie up this paltry scarecrow for me. I am going to question him with the most devilish of means and force the truth out of him as to why he is impersonating the sixth prince. Meanwhile, confess now, do you have any accomplices?" Shen Ao felt his head getting heavier and heavier. Right before he lost consciousness, a desperate thought flashed past his mind, "But I am really the sixth prince, Shen Ao." Chapter 53. That pure gold halo, how piercing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Are you going to confess or not? There was a huge cross upright in the dark cellar. Meanwhile, a man wearing costly-looking clothes was tied up on the cross. His face burnt with slap marks, while there were visible bumps on his head. Young shopkeeper Song held the whip in his hands and stood in front of the man. From time to time, he would slap the man or give him a hard punch on his head. "Ha, you impudent son of a b*tch. How dare you impersonate His Highness Shen Ao in front of me? I doubt you can ever guess, I actually know His Highness Shen Ao on a personal basis. In fact, I even fought with him, and both of us couldn't decipher who the winner was. His Highness' powers and looks are extraordinary, and none in this country can compare to his disposition. How can you, the son of a b*tch, dare to impersonate him? Let's be honest here, you better own up and tell me your motives now, so you can suffer less." After that, young shopkeeper Song continued torturing Shen Ao again happily. He slapped hard against Shen Ao's face or punched his head forcefully every few minutes or so. To be honest, he was enjoying it extremely. Beating up Shen Ao allowed him to feel like he was punishing his own son. At that moment, young shopkeeper Song thought he could finally empathize with his father. He now understood why his father always gained such great satisfaction from being able to beat him up at will. No wonder that old fellow always scolds me stupid and beats me up with so much satisfaction. So this is how it felt like when you can punish your son at will. It's exhilarating. Young shopkeeper Song suddenly had an audacious idea. What if I let this fellow wear my father's clothes? Would it feel better if I beat him up, pretending that this person is my father? You son of a b*tch, how's the interrogation going about? Just when young shopkeeper Song was entertaining himself with all these astray thoughts, he heard his father's voice ringing out from outside the cellar. He jumped and immediately backed to a side of the cellar. He felt like his blood might have become frozen. Father, I have used the cruelest means I can think of, to torture this chap for almost an hour. However, he's a hard nut to crack. He refused to speak even a single word. Shopkeeper Song took a glance at the unspoiled clothes on Shin Ao, and then at all the slap marks and bumps on Shin Ao's head. When he turned back to young shopkeeper Song, there was a look of anger mixed with disappointment on his face. You haven't even given him a single whip, and you said you had tortured him. Young shopkeeper Song felt deeply wronged as he replied, I have followed you around since young, but I have never seen how you interrogate a criminal. You can't blame me for something I don't know. Such a useless fellow. Shopkeeper Song snorted. Pass the whip to me. Shopkeeper Song secretly sucked in a deep breath when he got the whip from his son. To be honest, this was also the first time he was resorting to means of torture to force the truth out of someone. Like his son, he also lacked experience in this aspect. When facing Shin Ao, shopkeeper Song pondered for a while before he sneered. I am going to give you one last chance. You thief, own up to your crimes now. Or else, my whip will be merciless. Despite Shin Ao's swollen face, one could make out the resentful expression on his face. There was helplessness, distress, and rue written all over his eyes as he looked back at shopkeeper Song. And shopkeeper Song, being the more emotionally and intellectually capable person among the pair of father and son interrogators, finally got the signal from Shin Ao. Bam! Shopkeeper Song delivered a hard slap to his son's head. Father, I have spent so much effort helping you interrogate him. Why do you beat me again? Young shopkeeper Song was really incensed now. Even if you are my father, it's not right for you to take it out on me as and when you like. You mistreat me any further, I am going to make a voodoo doll of you and prick that doll with needles every day. You bet I am going to do that. Shopkeeper Song felt incredulous by his son's stupidity. He pointed a finger at Shin Ao, who was making gurgling sounds all this while, and shouted, You son of a b*tch, have you ever seen anyone stuffing up the criminal's mouth when interrogating them? How do you expect him to tell you anything in this manner? Young shopkeeper Song was stunned when he heard his father's comments. He shifted his gaze to the cross and saw tears running down the cheeks of the bro who was tied up there. From that bro's shiny tears, he swore he could see grievance, resent, anger, and relief. Finally, someone stood up for me and said something logical. You bastard. You keep on asking me to speak, to confess, and to own up. But why don't you remove that bloody silent incantation which you stuffed into my mouth? You made me silent and still want me to speak up. Aren't you expecting too much of me? Cough, cough, so sorry, bro. Well, I have no experience. After all, this is my first time interrogating people. Young shopkeeper Song scratched his head and felt his face burning. However, he was definitely not going to admit that he was having so much fun at being allowed to slap and punch people that he had forgotten the main aim of interrogating Shin Ao, and hence for not removing the silent incantation from Shin Ao's mouth. On the other hand, he started to secretly blame the creators of the silent incantation. Why did they have to invent the incantation, which became totally invisible once it was plastered on someone's lips? Upon looking at the pair of father and son who stared back at him innocently, Shen Ao cried even harder. He really regretted it now. He shouldn't have even stepped into the myriad spirit garden right from the start. When his 13th brother had come to his residence and brought Qin Gao away, he should have replaced all the palace maids and eunuchs on duty that day. Oh, and why did he even come into contact with Li? It all started with that wrong move. Blame me for being so careless. Meanwhile, at another corner of the myriad spirit garden. Chu. Just when Shen Tian returned to the inn and wanted to start his cultivation after a tiring day, he started sneezing profusely. Shen Tian felt resigned. Arg, which girl is thinking of me again? After his transmigration to this world, Shen Tian knew he was constantly on the minds of others. After all, he had extraordinary good looks, and now he was the myriad spirit garden's master celestial. Especially his fans, all those overly enthusiastic girls, they would surround him every day and rave about how much they would love to bear children for him. No matter what he did, these girls could not be chased away. This really left Shen Tian very troubled. If not for the fact that he wanted to change his fate and get rid of that black halo on his head, Shen Tian would have long left the myriad spirit garden and found somewhere quiet to continue his cultivation process. The cultivation world was a dangerous place, and Shen Tian knew that he could only be safe when he reached the Mahayana stage. Presently, Shen Tian's cultivation was not progressing, and he did not want to be too high-key. After all, from his experience of reading so many novels, he knew that those high-profile characters would always be the first to die at the hands of the main protagonists. From his actions these days, Shen Tian felt that he would end up on this path. What if a destined protagonist suddenly pops out now? Won't I be killed? Much as though he always laughed his head off at those brainless characters in the novels before in his previous life, Shen Tian knew it was best to keep a low profile after his transmigration to the cultivation world. As the saying goes, don't overextend, get back to farming. 1. This was a golden rule, regardless of where one was. After all, who could strike you down when you really become that invincible? Shen Tian cleared all thoughts and took out the string of rosary beads from his pocket. All this while when Shen Tian was judging ores, Jior had been absorbing the spirit stones. As such, the crack marks on the rosary beads seemed to be getting better, even though there were still some deep cracks that couldn't be removed. It felt much better when Shen Tian fondled the beads. That whole pouch of spirit stones got absorbed so fast. Looking at the little remains of the spirit stones in his pouch, Shen Tian shook his head and let out a wry smile. It's lucky that he had quite some savings. Otherwise, how could he afford to keep this ghost by his side? He took out another small pouch of spirit stones and placed the string of rosary beads inside again. Immediately, the hungry Jior started absorbing the spirit stones. All of a sudden, Jior seemed to feel something in the air. She stopped the absorbing process. There was fear and panic written all over her ghostly face. Master, I feel a very scary presence nearing us. Jior's half-translucent body faded even more. It was obvious she was terrified of what's coming for them. Shen Tian got alarmed too. Can it be that evil spirit's followers have found us? Shen Tian fished out the sword master token hurriedly. Ka. His room's door was pushed open. A halo emitting strong golden light, which seemed even more piercing than the sun, shone upon Shen Tian's face. At that moment, Shen Tian felt like he was blinded by the halo. Who is this person who has such great providence? 1. Hanyu Pinyin. Wei Sua Fayu is a Chinese internet slang adapted from a famous dub in the multiplayer online battle arena game Honor of Kings. It initially refers to how gamers remind one another that they shouldn't indulge in fights but concentrate on farming to get stronger. Eventually, this phrase develops the connotation of reminding people to build up strength so that they can be the winner at the end. Chapter 54. Don't you want to purge this female ghost too? You are listening at novelfull.audio. The person standing in front of Shantian was a girl. She donned shiny silver mail, and a white tiger cape draped over her shoulder blades, making her look extremely indomitable. At the same time, a red phoenix feather mask covered her face, emitting mysterious dermic vibes. Though none could see her face, the body-fitting mail suit showcased her perfect figure. The only parts of her body, which were revealed, her hands and her neck, looked exceedingly fair and tender and reminded people of what was described as a fairy's complexion. Given the way she carried herself, Shantian felt she must be a beautiful girl, and one who would not pale in comparison against Little Spirit Fairy. However, what truly shocked Shantian was the halo she carried above her head. It was a golden halo, and its strong rays were simply dazzling. Apart from specks of red flecking its surface, this halo was almost entirely gold. One must recall that even after Little Spirit Fairy inherited the Spirit Venerable Divine Water's skills, her red halo had merely upgraded to one that had slight golden rims. Yet this girl's halo was almost pure gold in color. This hinted at how unimaginably great her Providence was. This girl did not seem at all friendly toward Shantian and Jor, though. The moment she appeared, both of them could feel the room's atmosphere become immensely pressurizing. The girl stepped into the room, and her gaze shifted to the string of rosary beads that Shantian held in his hands. Just like what I expected, this is the typical kind of heretic armaments which the evil spirit sect's followers like to make. This whatever Saliver's sect master, he must be a heretic arts practitioner. With that thought, her gaze locked upon Shantian's face. Yet the longer she looked at him, the more puzzled she felt. This. How come he possesses such a disposition? It was a known fact that the evil spirit's followers proceeded with their cultivation by absorbing blood essence, resentment, and evil spirits. As such, their temperaments would eventually become malicious, dark, and dreadful, making anyone who came into contact with them extremely uneasy. Yet one could feel sturdy and fiery vibes being given off from this young lad. Moreover, he looked exceptionally good and didn't seem like a devilish fiend. Last but not least, how would anyone from evil spirit use spirit stones to nurture their heretic armaments? There must be some misunderstanding here. Upon this thought, the girl retracted the golden core restriction spell, which she had placed upon this room. The dreary atmosphere in the room got lifted, and it became much light-hearted and breathable. The girl cupped her fists and greeted Shantian with an indifferent tone, "A good day to you, my fellow cultivator. I am Zhang Yinshi, saintess of the divine firmament sacred grounds. I heard that evil spirits' followers were spotted in the myriad spirit garden. As such, I came here to investigate. The Haridi rosary beads are an advanced enchanted armament from evil spirit. Can you kindly explain why it ended up with you?" Although this girl seemed cold and unfeeling, Shantian secretly felt relieved by her attitude. This was because she was the first girl who managed to ignore his looks and spoke rationally to him. At the same time, he knew how circumstances might have taken a turn for the worst. In a typical novel, if Shantian was found to possess the Haridi rosary beads by followers of those orthodox sects, they would attack him without giving him any room for explanation. Yet this girl had not jumped to conclusions, and in fact, she had taken the liberty to consult him first. Shantian always admired people with such calm characters. It's just that her name really made him want to laugh. Zhang Yinshi, the saintess of divine firmament sacred grounds. I wonder if she has a brother named Zhang Yunlei, 1, ****. In any case, Shantian sat down and passed the string of rosary beads to Zhang Yinshi. After which, he recounted his encounter on the cliff a few days ago. "The incident about perfected black blood attacking me, it's true. You can ask the 3 leaders from the Enforcers team. They can prove it. Meanwhile, the crack marks on the Haridi rosary beads are also there. Do go ahead and check them by yourself if you don't believe me. Everything I said is true, and I am willing to go along with your investigations if required." Shantian's cooperative attitude made Zhang Yunshi put down her suspicions. However, To verify if what he said was the truth, she would still check his words against that of the three leaders. Unlike other girls, Zhang Yunxi had always believed that she was not one to be befuddled by looks. Even though this young lad in front of her might seem a tad too good looking, if she found out that he was related to evil spirit, Zhang Yunxi would still arrest him and bring him back to the divine firmament sacred grounds for interrogation. But of course, if this chap was ugly, she might have begun her punishment right on the spot already. Shen Tian felt that he could not let go of this rare opportunity. How many times could he meet a saintess? He looked sincerely at Zhang Yunxi. Fairy Zhang, I have a favor to ask of you. Zhang Yunxi creased her forehead. She had never liked to attend to people's requests. Yet she could not help but nod her head when she saw the genuine expression on Shen Tian's face. Speak then. I can consider helping you, as long as it's a reasonable request. Shen Tian was exhilarated. He commented, can Fairy Zhng kindly help me purge these ghost babies? Other than the ghost mother, Jiu'er, the Haredi rosary beads still contained hundreds of ghost babies. As they had been nurtured with heretic arts, they would not be able to go into reincarnation unless expert monks or priests purged them. Shen Tian knew nothing about purging souls, and hence he could only ask Zhang Yunxi for help. When Zhang Yunxi heard his request, she was stunned for a moment. She was initially skeptical of what Shen Tian might ask her to do, but she would never have expected that Shen Tian was asking for her help on behalf of those ghost babies. After all, survival of the fittest was the golden principle in this cultivation world. One could never expect much sympathy from others. In fact, the main reason why many supposedly righteous sects were willing to slay demons was that those cultivators wanted to obtain the demon's essence pills for potioneering purposes. Slaying demons was also an excuse to strengthen their sect's influence in the cultivation world and a means to get rid of those who opposed them. After killing evil spirits' followers, most of the cultivators would simply destroy those heretic armaments. Some might even trade them in the black markets in exchange for more cultivation resources. Only top-notch sects like the Layin Sacred Grounds or the Divine Firmament Sacred Grounds would teach their disciples Dharma spells to purge souls for reincarnation and encourage them to help expiate the sins of the dead. Even so, many of their disciples would not choose to do so. This was because lots of powers were required to conduct such purgatory spells, and considering how scarce cultivation resources were, why would anyone spend their efforts to do things that would not benefit them? When Zhang Yunxi saw that Shen Tian was nurturing the Haredi rosary beads with spirit stones, she was already quite surprised. And now, Shen Tian actually asked if she could help to purge those spirits. This made her even more astonished. You don't know any purging Dharma spells? Then why do you still keep these rosary beads by your side? If one did not know any purging Dharma spells but still insisted on keeping such heretic armaments, they would usually end up with either of these three scenarios. The first scenario would be that they had to continue sustaining Jiu'er with resentment, evil spirits, and blood essence. Jiu'er could then continue killing ordinary folks and thus help its owner achieve cultivation aims. The second scenario would be like what Shen Tian was doing now, having to sustain it with large amounts of spirit stones. Finally, should one be unable to commit to either of the above two scenarios, they would end up with the third scenario. When the ghost mother and ghost babies became too hungry and lost their last restraints, they would attack their owner. To be honest, all of the three scenarios were thankless tasks. But to Zhang Yunxi, Shen Tian didn't look like a fool who would disadvantage himself. Shen Tian was rather confused by Zhang Yunxi's question. Well, I just think that if Miss Jiu'er and these children continue to be trapped in the rosary beads, they will not get reincarnated. I thus came up with this idea of feeding them with spirit stones so that they will not meet any harm for now. I'll keep doing this until I find some way to let them leave the world in peace. Does Fairy Zhang feel that there's anything wrong with this method? As a 21st century youth that had been educated to help others in need, Shen Tian never thought there was something wrong with what he was doing. However, he felt rather disturbed by the way this saintess looked at him now. because she seemed like she was looking at a fool. Zhang Yunxi smiled and shook her head. She was honestly quite impressed with what she heard. There's nothing wrong with what you are doing. It's just that you are too kind and righteous. I would like to salute you for your actions. I do know of some Dharma spells to help purge souls, and I can help you purge these ghost babies. However, I have a question which I hope you can enlighten me. Shen Tian was happy that Zhang Yunxi agreed to help him. He replied immediately, sure, as long as Fairy Zhang agrees to help me, I will answer any question. Zhang Yunxi stared at Shen Tian intently and asked, why do you only request me to purge those ghost babies, when that female ghost, in fact, looks more vengeful? Don't you want to purge this female ghost too? 1. Hanyu Pinyin. Zhang Yunlei, taking reference to a Chinese crosstalk comedian. Chapter 55. The White Tiger Saintess of the Divine Firmament Sacred Grounds. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shen Tian got quite stunned by Zhang Yunxi's question. That's correct. Why did I forget about Jior? I almost got misled into thinking that she can't be purged. Previously, Jior had kept emphasizing how important it was to purge those ghost babies. As such, Shen Tian had almost forgotten that she could also be purged. When looking at Jior, who had absorbed almost half of the pouch of spirit stones during the short exchange Shen Tian had with Zhang Yunxi, he decided that it seemed financially wiser to purge her. That would help him save lots of money. Fairy Zhang, I thank you for your reminder. This had almost slipped my mind. If you can, please help to purge Jior too. Shen Tian replied to Zhang Yunxi's question in a straightforward yet righteous tone. All along, Zhang Yunxi was also observing Shen Tian's reactions. She wanted to see if he would show any signs of hesitation. If he did, it would imply that he had kept the Haredi rosary beads for some indecent purposes, that perhaps Shen Tian lusted beautiful females like the ghost mother. Yet Shen Tian's reactions had far exceeded Zhang Yunxi's expectations. Shen Tian had a clear look in his eyes, and one could see that he was not reluctant to part with Jior at all. Zhang Yunxi formed a good impression of this suave gentleman. It seemed like there's some truth to the rumors in the myriad spirit garden. Perhaps this person might truly be a master celestial. At least from what she saw today, this person had impressive morals. However, at that moment, tears started running down Jior's cheeks. She knelt down in front of Shen Tian and cried miserably, no, Jior does not want to be purged. I just want to remain by Master's side. Since Master had rescued me from that villain Black Blood, my life belongs to you. If Master wants me to be purged, then I will rather choose to have my soul scattered. Jior's attitude deeply shocked Zhang Yunxi. What, even the vengeful spirit of Haredi will be dazzled by good-looking guys? Just because your new owner is so much more good-looking than your old owner, would you rather give up the chance to go for reincarnation and stay by his side? On the other hand, Shen Tian got a headache after hearing Jior's words. He had no idea what to make of this situation. Maiden, are you planning to haunt me forever? Don't you know how many spirit stones I had spent on you? One shouldn't behave like this. I had rescued you from perfected Black Blood, so all the more, you should not blackmail me as such. Miss Jior, why don't you let Fairy Zhang purge you and go for reincarnation? This is so much better for you. Jior couldn't stop tearing up. Master, do you detest me that much? Although Jior is not compatible with Master, please, believe me, I am willing to use my life to protect Master should you run into trouble. Jior begs of Master, please do not abandon me. Zhang Yunxi sighed when she saw how hard Jior was pleading with Shen Tian. I didn't expect that vengeful spirits like Jior can really feel gratitude. Forget it then. My friend, you can keep Jior by your side. The Divine Firmament Sacred Grounds have some spectral cultivation methods. I can impart them to this ghost mother while I purge those ghost babies later. Should Miss Jior train hard at this and maintain her constitution, I am sure she will be able to develop her own spirit chi and replace them with the resentment and blood essence, which she depends on for her sustenance. In time to come, Miss Joer should be able to become a spectral cultivator. But I shall put my words down here. Do not commit any evil crimes from now on. Or else if you transform into a malicious spirit, Miss Joer, you will suffer the wrath of divine lightning from my sect. We do not forgive crime-doers easily. Joer was deeply appreciative of Zhang Yinxi's actions. She replied immediately, no, Joer won't become a malicious spirit. I will forever remember your kind actions. From now on, Joer will focus all energy on cultivation. I will do plenty of good deeds, and I promise that I will not commit any crimes. Zhang Yinxi nodded her head satisfactorily when she heard Joer's promise to her. At the same time, she also secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Well, to be very honest. Zhang Yinxi agreed to not purge Joer, not only because she was touched by her. It was also due to the fact that she was not very familiar with the Divine Firmament Sacred Ground's purgatory dermic spells. As the saintess of the Divine Firmament Sacred Grounds, Zhang Yinxi believed in using force to resolve all kinds of situations. In the past, when she came across evil spirits' followers and their heretic armaments, she would just vanquish them. For the few poor souls who needed to be purged, she would let her elder brother handle the process. It was a known fact that out of the Black Dragon, White Tiger, and Gold Qilin siblings from the Divine Firmament Sacred Grounds, the saintess that wore the White Tiger clear light armor suit was the last person one should meddle with. Meanwhile, enchanted armaments like Haridi were very difficult to purge. Zhang Yinxi could not guarantee that she could successfully purge her. Especially for females born in a time of Yin, their resentment would be the strongest. Zhang Yinxi was not confident that she could get rid of Joer's resentment. If her brother, Zhang Yunting, or her senior brother, Fang Chang, were here, this task might have more chances of success. Sigh, why did I agree to his request so promptly? Purging spirits are the most laborious tasks. If I knew I would face such circumstances, I would have brought my brother along for this trip. Zhang Yinxi sighed secretly and could only come to the conclusion that she must be under some spell just now when she agreed to help Shen Tian. Why did she agree to him so easily? Sighs. At that moment, the room's door was blasted open, and a red shadow shot straight at Zhang Yinxi. Your Highness, please don't be scared. I have already sent Gao to contact the enforcers. You lackeys from Evil Spirit, don't you dare to hurt His Highness. Your Highness, I will cover for you. Please leave now. Within the short span of shouting these words, Eunuch Gui already shot several gusts of blade auras. Purplish blade shadows covered the room, and they formed a weird sunflower shape. The flowers bloomed in mid-air and released terrifying vibes. Oh, sunflower blade auras. You are just a mere cultivator who reached the 8th firmament of the Qi refinement realm, and you can generate such strong blade auras already. Zhang Yinxi looked indifferently at Eunuch Gui, but several thoughts raced through her mind. That's interesting. Did you inherit skills from the demon Hyuga of the eastern wilderness? It's such a pity that your cultivation skills are still too far fetched from mine, old mister. The minute those words left her lips, purplish-red lightning exploded from behind Zhang Yinxi's slim figure. Immediately, a majestic white tiger enshrouded by purplish-red lightning appeared. Zhang Yinxi made a clasping action with two of her dainty, jade-like right fingers, and the white tiger behind her let out a huge roar too. What's amazing was that the width of the white tiger's mouth actually matched to Zhang Yinxi's fingers. Clang! All the blade shadows were wiped clean in that instant. At the same time, Zhang Yinxi's fingers firmly clasped the purple feather-soft sword that Eunuch Gui was holding. No matter how much spirit qi Eunuch Gui summoned to get the sword out of her hands, Zhang Yinxi's fingers seemed like an unmoving mountain. I shall let you off this time since you are just worried about your master. Zhang Yinxi flicked her fingers nonchalantly, and lightning struck again. After which, that expensive purple feather soft sword was shattered to pieces. Along with that, some lightning shot through Eunuch Goe's whole body from his arm. Eunuch Goe's hair stood up immediately. Meanwhile, his face blackened amidst a series of convulsions, and the smell of burnt meat covered the room. Fairy Zhang, please pardon Uncle Goe. This is all a misunderstanding. He did not have any malicious intentions. Shen Tian pleaded on behalf of Eunuch Goe, but he only got a cold reply from Zhang Yunqi. I know. That's why he is still standing before us now. With that, Zhang Yunqi turned and continued examining the rosary beads. Shen Tian immediately held out his hands to support Eunuch Goe. Uncle Goe, are you all right? Eunuch Goe shook his head dazedly and replied, Your Highness, I am all right. I just feel a little drowsy. Shen Tian did not know what to comment on this statement. He hurriedly explained, This lady is the White Tiger Saintess of the Divine Firmament Sacred Grounds. She's not a bad person. At that, Eunuch Goe's eyes brightened up, and he let out a gratified smile. What, even the Saintess of the Divine Firmament Sacred Grounds will visit your Highness at your room at night? Your Highness is indeed artful. Should Her Majesty know this, she would be so pleased. Chapter 56. Release of Ghost Babies, Rebirth Mantra. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just as Eunuch Goe finished speaking, lightning was shot toward him. Kacha. Upon seeing Eunuch Goe, who had fainted from being attacked by Zhang Yunqi's lightning again, Shen Tian was a little speechless. Uncle Goe. She's the Saintess of Divine Firmament Sacred Ground, and you still spoke so carelessly. Zhang Yunqi is a super powerful boss that has a golden halo. And you still dared to make rumors that taint her reputation in front of her. Sigh. You're really looking for death. At the thought of that, Shen Tian could not help but shake his head helplessly. Fairy Zhang, Uncle Goe has no ill intentions. Zhang Yunqi nodded coldly. I have no malicious intentions, either. Those few lightning won't harm him. That old man has depleted quite a lot of his essence energy from trying to advance rashly when training the demon book of Hyuga. The lightning I used just now was the Jiamu Divine Lightning from the Divine Firmament Sacred Grounds 5 Heavenly Lightning Cultivation Technique. There are no disadvantages from being struck by my lightning a few more times. After finishing, lightning struck Eunuch Goe again, and his old face turned even blacker. Zhang Yunqi also did not know why she had explained this to Shen Tian. According to her explosive temper in the past, the following would happen if that old man dared to make a move. She would definitely use the White Tiger Gung Jin Divine Lightning that she was best at. Then, use Phoenix Lee Fire Divine Lightning, which was her second best. She had to strike that old man until he was scorched on the outside. She had to let him know that a saintess could not be humiliated. However, Zhang Yunqi kept on feeling that something was wrong with her today. It looked like she had become soft-hearted from seeing how that old man wanted to protect his master. After talking to you for so long, you haven't told me your name. Suddenly, as if Zhang Yunqi had thought of something, she asked Shen Tian while looking straight at him. Shen Tian was stunned. I'm Shen Outyen, a disciple of. Before he could finish, he was interrupted. Zhang Yunqi said coldly, Don't try to fool me with that. I have already carefully investigated before coming to Myriad Spirit Garden. There is no dark grotto on Nippon Mountain within the more well-known sects in the whole of Eastern Wilderness. Zhang Yunqi's face darkened slightly. You dare deceive me. Upon seeing that the image of a white tiger made of lightning appeared behind Zhang Yunqi once again, Shen Tian felt a shiver down his back. My surname is Shen, my given name is Tian, my style name is Outyen, and my Taoist monastic name is Xuanyuan. Zhang Yunqi nodded. Alright, these will be enough. You don't need to say the rest. She stood up gradually and held the rosary beads in her hand. Every talented genius in Eastern Wilderness has their own secrets. Rather than listening to the lies you come up with, it's better not to hear them. It's enough just knowing that you are called Shintian. Comfortable. It's just comfortable speaking to this shrew. Cough, cough. It was a slip of the tongue. It's just comfortable speaking to this saintess. Shintian felt that this tough girl from divine firmament sacred ground was to his liking. If it were not that his cultivation stage was way too low as compared to her, Shintian was already prepared to ask her if she was willing to follow him. To take an oath of brotherhood and become sworn brother and sister. I need to spend some time to release the souls of these ghost babies. Zhang Yunxi fondled the beads in her hand and said, "You will need to guard me in this period of time." While Zhang Yunxi spoke, a flash of distrust could be seen in her eyes. Even now, she did not completely trust Shintian. Divine Firmament Sacred Ground was one of the 12 top sacred ground sects of the Eastern Wilderness. They were the resistance force with the most stress as they directly faced evil organizations, such as Evil Spirit. The past successors of Divine Firmament Sacred Ground had all taken on the responsibility to defeat evil and protect the good. When facing evil cultivators, it was inevitable that they would face underhanded schemes and conspiracies. Although Zhang Yinshi was young, as the saintess, she naturally was not just candy. She could make use of this chance of releasing the ghost babies to test whether Shintian was one of evil spirit's followers. At the thought of that, Zhang Yinshi secretly prepared a trump card and started releasing the ghost babies. She took out spirit stones from her storage ring and placed them according to the 3x3 trigrams direction. Meanwhile, the rosary beads were placed right in the center. As Zhang Yunxi poured in spirit qi and dermic powers, the array formation was activated. Instantly, dense spirit qi rose from the formation and surged toward the beads. Zhang Yunxi also chanted the mysterious mantra of releasing souls continuously. Namo Amitabhaya Tathagataya. Tadayatha. Amrita.bhava Amrita.siddhambhava. Amrita.vikrante Amrita.vikranta. Gamin Gugna. Kurta.care Svaha. As Zhang Yunxi continued chanting the divine firmament sacred grounds rebirth mantra, her dermic powers actually gradually gathered to form golden runes of light. The runes contained the mysterious mark of Tao as if elaborating the secrets of reincarnation. Somehow, there seemed to be an indescribable great existence that was manifesting. Those golden runes of light quickly entered the beads, and gradually, the ghost babies flew out of the beads one after the other. Their bodies were originally black, and they looked hideous. However, after bathing in the rain of golden light, their resentment was washed away like dirt. Slowly, the ghost babies and children, which were originally hideous and suffering in pain, revealed a comfortable expression and smiled with relief. Their innocent and pure laughter echoed non-stop in the room. The crisp voices of those children even made people start tearing up. "Thank you, brother. Thank you, Sister Saintess. Thank you, brother, for giving us spirit stones. Thank you, sister, for releasing us. Thank you, brother. Thank you, sister. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you." In the rain of light, the ghost babies and children were released and able to be reincarnated. Their peals of laughter and thank yous were filled with their purest emotions. It was unknown when, but Zhang Yunxi's face had already been filled with perspiration. She was not that proficient in the divine firmament sacred grounds rebirth mantra. If her brother or senior brother only needed 1 unit of dermic power to release a ghost baby, Zhang Yunxi would need to spend 10 units or even tens of units of dermic power to be able to release the soul. Now, releasing hundreds of ghost babies and children in one go was definitely quite stressful for Zhang Yunxi. Shen Tian was quite worried at the side. "Fairy Zhang, are you able to last through it? Do you need to rest?" Zhang Yunxi's eyes turned cold, and she snorted before saying, "It's just a few hundred children, there's no stress at all." Seeing that Zhang Yunxi really looked like she had no problem, Shen Tian could rest assured at last. He turned to look at one side. Jiuer was looking at the ghost babies. Your children are being released now. So. Are you very jealous of them? You can still change your mind. Shen Tian tried persuading her earnestly. Don't miss this chance. Currently, it's still quite easy for Fairy Zhang. She should be able to release you too. Jiuer, if you changed your mind, I can ask Fairy Zhang to release you too. Upon hearing Shen Tian's words, Jiuer and Zhang Yunxi's eyes widened. Haridi. Zhang Yunxi. Chapter 57. You are not fated with me. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Cough, cough. Since Miss Jiuer is so loyal, you shouldn't force her, Brother Shen. Zhang Yunxi secretly made her perspiration on her face evaporate, using some of the dermic powers she had left. She was a little worried that Shen Tian would ask her to release Jiuer too. Unfortunately, her skills in her sex rebirth mantra were not proficient enough. It was difficult to release the ghost mother. Still, Zhang Yunxi heaved a sigh of relief as when she had been releasing the souls, Shen Tian had not taken the chance to make a move and attack her. That allowed Zhang Yunxi to trust Shen Tian a little more. Shen Tian should be a good person. After releasing all the ghost babies, Zhang Yunxi returned the rosary beads to Shen Tian. She said calmly, I have left a cultivation technique for ghosts in the beads. Miss Jiuer can train hard and convert her resentment into dermic power. Once all her resentment has turned into dermic power, then it will not be impossible for her to transcend the tribulation and become a ghost immortal. Shen Tian saw that Zhang Yunxi did not seem to want to release Jiuer, and the latter did not want to be released either. Therefore, he could only nod his head without any other choice. In that case, thank you, Fairy Zhang. Never mind. Since Jiuer is not going to be released, then just let her stay. However, it was not easy to provide for Jiuer. Although the consumption was large for the first essence heavy water in his kidney, if he squeezed out part of it, then he should be able to feed Jiuer to her fill. Shen Tian felt that everyone around him and everything he had would require a large spirit stones expenditure. If it was not for the fact that he could earn spirit stones quickly enough, he wouldn't be able to provide for them. Meanwhile, on the other side, Zhang Yunxi also heaved a sigh of relief. She secretly decided that she had to steel herself to be serious once she returned this time and become proficient in the rebirth mantra. Otherwise, how embarrassing would it be if she encountered such a situation again and was unable to release the souls? Most importantly, seeing how that female ghost was hanging around Shen Tian made Zhang Yunxi feel a little sour and uncomfortable in her heart. Sigh. If I had been hardworking in understanding and training when Master was teaching the rebirth mantra, instead of not paying attention, I could definitely have released this female ghost. Shen Tian put away the rosary beads, placing them into another bag with spirit stones. He cupped his hands together towards Zhang Yunxi. Sorry for troubling you today. Thank you, Fairy Zhang. Zhang Yunxi straightened her back proudly, but her face was calm. Don't mention it. After finishing, Zhang Yunxi stared at Shen Tian coldly, and Shen Tian also looked at Zhang Yunxi. The two of them did not speak, so the room was silent for a while. Cough, cough. Fairy, why are you still in my room when you already know I'm not from evil spirit? It's late. I am going to sleep. Shen Tian felt helpless. What's this saintess thinking of doing again? Zhang Yunxi seemed to have also sensed the awkwardness of the situation, so she coughed lightly and said, I heard that Brother Shen is proficient in the seeking and assessing spirit ores. Shen Tian was not surprised that Zhang Yunxi would ask him that. She had already been suspicious of Shen Tian being from evil spirit. Therefore, before she had appeared in front of Shen Tian, she would definitely have already done her investigation. Shen Tian helped fated people seek and assess spirit ores, almost the whole myriad spirit garden knew it. It would be weird if Zhang Yunxi did not know about that at all. Shen Tian nodded. Yes, I know a thing or two about it. Zhang Yunxi stared at Shen Tian. I heard that Brother Shen only seeks and assesses spirit ores for fated people. Shen Tian could only nod his head honestly. Yes, I won't do it for people who have no fate with me, no matter the price. Zhang Yunxi smiled slightly. Then, am I fated with Brother Shen? Zhang Yunxi's face was filled with confidence and pride. She was the divine firmament sacred ground saintess. Although her focus of cultivation was not the seeking and assessing spirit ores, she knew quite a lot about it since she had often been to large-scale spirit ore gardens. She had never heard of any spirit or appraiser that would leave it up to fate. From her point of view, it was an excuse for Shen Tian to choose the people he wanted. Zhang Yunxi thought of herself as one of the best saintresses in terms of beauty and cultivation throughout the eastern wilderness. She had also taken the trouble to help Shen Tian release the baby ghosts. Thus, from sentiment and reason, Shen Tian should and would give her face and say, "You're fated with me." Despite her expectations, Shen Tian was bewildered. What? Even the divine firmament sacred ground saintess wants me to help her seek ores. You're already divine firmament sacred ground saintess. Would you still care about this bit of ore in Myriad Spirit Garden? One should know that even though there were many spirit stones in Myriad Spirit Garden, their grades were mostly average. The top geniuses of sacred grounds and grotto heavens would not even look at such spirit stones. Only those people with ordinary statuses in the cultivation world would like to come here. Meanwhile, those saints and saintesses would go to high-grade spirit or gardens. In those spirit or gardens, all kinds of high-quality ores would be gathered. It could be said the price of any random spirit ore would be at least 1,000 spirit ores. If one were lucky enough, the items obtained from within would be extremely precious, such as supreme grade spirit artifacts, lost mystic arts, and sealed rare treasures. There might even be a sealed ancient goddess that slept for tens of thousands of years. Lucky individuals might obtain all of the above. According to rumors, Purple Mansion Sacred Ground Saint had obtained half a jade slip in the primordial spirit garden a few years ago. The jade slip recorded the Nirvana Immortal Imperial Sutra. Due to the jade slip's cultivation technique, the Purple Mansion Sacred Ground's oldest cultivator had managed to live a second life. Thus, the Purple Mansion Sacred Ground's whole strength and foundation had improved greatly. Therefore, Shen Tian thought that spirit or gardens, like Primordial Spirit Garden, were places that people like Zhang Yunxi should go. As such, why would she take a fancy to the Myriad Spirit Garden? Honestly speaking, Shen Tian had already observed Zhang Yunxi's halo and had seen no lucky opportunities connected to this place. If there was no such image, no matter what her halo's color may be, it was useless. Thus, Shen Tian could only helplessly sigh and say, "You're not fated with me." Just as he finished speaking, Shen Tian could feel that the room's temperature dropped at an alarming rate. Shen Tian was not sure if he was right or wrong, but from Zhang Yunxi's gaze, he could feel that she seemed to be unhappy. She was even a little resentful. Zhang Yunxi took a deep breath and felt that she was about to explode. "I took the initiative to befriend you, but you daren't give me face. This is humiliating, simply a burning shame. Shen Tian, you're really going too far. When have I, the divine firmament sacred ground saintess, been humiliated like this?" At that moment, a loud shout came from outside. "Master Celestial, don't worry. The Myriad Spirit Garden enforcers are here. Who dares to be disrespectful toward Master Celestial?" Shen Tian looked outside the inn through the window that eunuch Gui had broken. He saw a group of enforcers using sword kinesis flight and flying in the distance. Their formation was sometimes in a straight horizontal line, while other times V-shaped. The three leaders in the front were all familiar faces. The three Golden Core enforcer leaders were extremely excited. Who knew that they would have the chance to curry favor with Master Celestial again in just a few days? It could be said that they were favored by fate. Thus, they used their full abilities to reach this place fast. Where did this evil cultivator come from? How do you dare to make a move toward Master Celestial? Gather, evil execution sword formation, attack. The bright golden light from their swords gathered together, and the tens of enforcers became one with the swords. A huge sword aura, which was tens of meters long, shot toward Zhang Yunxi directly. Chapter 58. Fortuitous opportunity for Zhang Yunxi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Good timing. I'm very upset now and need to release my anger. Zhang Yunxi scoffed and stepped out of the room. She did not flinch when she saw the blade auras coming at her. She slowly raised her right fist, and a blinding white thunder formed on her hand. The image of a white tiger made of lightning appeared behind Zhang Yunxi once again. Roar! The tiger's roar shook the entire area. Even the inn started shaking by the vibration. She slowly released her punch at the blade auras aiming at her, and the entire sky changed color. It was a very powerful punch. The surroundings were filled with white lightning. The lightning combined with the image of the white tiger and made it look very real. It was as though a real white tiger was summoned. Every inch on earth could feel the enormous presence of the tiger. The white tiger quickly shrank and combined with Zhang Yunxi's right fist. Although her hands looked fragile and her fist did not seem powerful at all, her punch pushed all the huge golden sword auras cast by the 3 golden core leaders. She did not even hit them physically. She simply just punched the air, but the lightning produced hit all the enforcers and knocked them down. Their bodies were spasming on the ground due to the electricity and were badly roasted. It's the cultivation technique from Divine Firmament Sacred Ground. White Tiger Gung Jin Divine Lightning. The leaders quickly scolded Qin Gao in their hearts. Where is the bad villain from Evil Spirit you said that is harming Master Celestial? Why is the opponent from the Divine Firmament Sacred Ground? Ouch! The punch must have fractured my ribs. Why are you spreading false information? Honestly speaking, Zhang Yunxi was not very happy right now. She was the best among her peers since young, and she was now the strongest female in the Eastern Wilderness. She had a strong eagerness to excel in everything she did. All the people she encountered so far would show her respect. Yet she did not expect to encounter so many problems in a poor country like the Country of Fire. Your servant attacked me without even knowing who I was. I was fine with it as he was just trying to protect his master. Thus, I forgave the servant. But now you said that you have no fate with me. Why? You have fate with so many people every day, and you are assessing ores for them. Why are you finding excuses not to help me? There were so many great men chasing after her in the sacred grounds in the Eastern Wilderness. She did not even bother to look at them. Finally, she had found Shen Tian, who looked quite pleasant, in the Country of Fire. It's my first time hinting a man to be friends. Yet. Look at what you did. You said you have no fate with me. What did I do that upset you? Zhang Yunxi was already very frustrated by what Shen Tian had said, and now there were so many sword cultivators trying to attack her. The saintesses from the sacred grounds were respected no less than the elders from the grotto, heavens. The enforcers dared to attack her first. That was a serious crime of insubordination. Zhang Yunxi could not tolerate that. Hence, she gave a very serious punch at the enforcers. I'm the Divine Firmament Sacred Ground Saintess, Zhang Yunxi. I'm not with Evil Spirit. Zhang Yunxi walked up and floated in the air with lightning all around her. At that moment, she showed the true elegance of a saintess. She was noble, proud, holy, and extremely powerful. She stared at the enforcers with the lightning still glowing around her. The myriad spirit garden would definitely fight back if it was someone else instead of her. But the Divine Firmament Sacred Ground was highly respected. They did not want to mess with them. Even the Grand White Grotto. Heaven would show some respect to them. The enforcers had started the fight, so even if the saintess killed them, no one was going to blame her. Zhang Yinshi looked at the enforcers twitching on the ground and felt much better. She held out her right hand again, and the white lightning jumped out of their bodies, returning to Zhang Yinshi. Do not mess around with the sacred ground. This is just a little warning. If it happens again, I'll go to the Supreme Court myself. Go away now. Then, she turned around and looked at Shen Tian. She said, Brother Shen, can you please check again if we have fate? Shen Tian was terrified by the power of this woman. If I said there's no fate again, would she kill me? But that's the truth. Wait a minute. Shen Tian looked at her halo carefully and was surprised by what he saw. There was a fortuitous opportunity image in her halo that he had missed previously. The color of the golden halo was too bright, and the image was very blurry. Thus, Shen Tian did not spot it first. However, Shen Tian was very puzzled. So far, all the images he saw after his ability upgrade were very clear. He had never encountered such a blurry image before. He stared at the images for a long time but still found it hard to determine the content. Give me a moment. Let me observe for a while more. Shen Tian stared at Zhang Yunshi and said slowly, Fairy Zhang, we have fate with each other. Zhang Yunshi was happy with the answer. Although she did not know why he had to stare at her head, since there was fate between them, she was willing to overlook the issue. He looked kind of handsome with a good character. As a saintess, she was not unreasonable. The enforcers were very touched by what they saw. Master Celestial compromised with this violent female because of us. Master Celestial has broken his own rule just to save us. It's all our fault. We are too weak. Master Celestial has no choice but to do this to save us. Master Celestial is like the Buddha who feeds the eagle with his own flesh. It's so touching. Shen Tian did not know what the rest was thinking as he was focused on the words appearing in the image. Slowly, he finally made out what was written on it, Sky Spirit Pavilion. Chapter 59. Master Celestial can predict the future. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sky Spirit Pavilion again. Shen Tian could not help but be slightly stunned, as this place was really filled with stories. Shen Tian had met Little Spirit Fairy there when he had just arrived at the Myriad Spirit Garden. It was because of seeing how Little Spirit Fairy had been working with the Song family that he had thought of helping people to seek ores. Afterward, Shen Tian had obtained the purple golden hammer in his hand now. Shopkeeper Song had also additionally given Shen Tian a universe ring. This Sky Spirit Pavilion could be said to be a blessed land. Zhang Yinshi asked with a smile, since Brother Shen is fated with me, then how about we go now to seek and assess ores? Shen Tian was stunned. Then he took a look at the dark sky. Now. Zhang Yinshi nodded and said with anticipation, I also want to take a look at your capabilities. Honestly speaking, Zhang Yinshi did not really care what Shen Tian could cut open from the ore. Given her net worth and status, so what even if spirit artifacts were obtained? Zhang Yinshi's family had too many things, such as spirit artifacts. What she was curious about was whether this young man was really capable of assessing ores. One should know that those trained in the skill of seeking and assessing ores were all powerful beings in the Golden Core stage and above. Their age was at least 100 and above. This was an expertise that one would need to spend much time and energy to learn. It was difficult for youngsters to understand it thoroughly. However, according to the information Zhang Yinshi had gathered, Shen Tian's success rate for helping others seek and assess ores was an unbelievable 100%. It was simply unimaginable. According to the rumors, he had helped Li Liener of Grand White Grotto, Heaven to obtain a 7. Treasure Fairy Calabash Seed. One should know that the fairy seed was ranked 36th on the spiritual wood list, even the divine firmament's sacred ground could not ignore such an item. The news in the cultivation world was mostly fake and exaggerated, so Zhang Yinshi would not believe it completely. However, as the saying went, there are no waves without wind. 1. Since Shen Tian's Master Celestial title was discussed animatedly, Zhang Yunxi had to admit that this man attracted her attention and made her interested. Originally, Shen Tian did not want to go out to seek and assess ores in the night. However, Shen Tian took a look at those enforcers, who left while dancing from being struck too many times by lightning, and eunuch Gui, who was still unconscious and convulsing. He then made the wise choice of nodding his head. Since Fairy Zhang is so impatient, please wait for a moment. I'll bathe and change. Then we'll start. After finishing, Shen Tian walked into the shower room beside the guest room. Only the blushing Zhang Yunxi was left standing there. That guy actually dared to just leave me here and go bathe. Zhang Yunxi took a deep breath. She had never been neglected like this before. Forget it, since everyone says that he's so proficient in his skills of seeking and assessing ores, then maybe he might really know some unique mystic technique that requires him to bathe. Zhang Yunxi stood in front of the door coldly and waited silently. Honestly speaking, her temper had never been this good in her life. At that moment, a person carefully walked in while raising both hands. Upon seeing that Zhang Yunxi looked toward that person, he hurriedly spoke. Fairy, please don't misunderstand. I'm not an enemy, not an enemy. After explaining, Qin Gao walked toward eunuch Gui and carried him on his back. He looked at the shower room, and gradually satisfaction and excitement could be seen in his eyes. Qin Gao looked at Zhang Yunxi and encouraged her. Fairy, try your best. I support you. His Highness is already 16 years old and not married yet. So, Fairy, you don't need to worry about His Highness' conduct. Please rest without worries with His Highness. I will be guarding at the door. I definitely won't let any ignorant people disturb the both of you. Fairy, don't hesitate, muster the courage and go for it. Upon hearing Qin Gao's baffling words, Zhang Yunxi was stunned for a few seconds. Then, her face quickly turned red. In the next second, white lightning struck. Qin Gao let out a scream and followed in eunuch Gui's footsteps. Who is he? So shameless and vulgar. Zhang Yunxi was enraged from shame. She looked around, and then her eyes gradually moved toward the shower room filled with mist. I am the saintess of the divine firmament sacred ground. How can I peep at a guy bathing? Zhang Yunxi sneered, then she used her dermic powers to throw eunuch Gui and Qin Gao outside the door. Who told them to speak such nonsense? Go out and enjoy the cold wind. Shen Tian did not know that as he was taking a bath, another one had fainted outside. The reason why he wanted to take a bath and change clothes before leaving with Zhang Yunxi was very simple. The consumption from looking at the encounter on top of Zhang Yunxi had taken a toll on him. Thus, he needed to delay a little and allow his condition to recover, and increase the time he could see the image. Shen Tian soaked his legs, his waist, and then his neck into the warm water. At that moment, Shen Tian felt that he was extremely comfortable and relaxed. As for the saintess outside, most likely, she should not be in a rush. After soaking in the bathtub for an hour, Shen Tian felt that he had recovered quite a bit. He walked out of the bathtub and wiped his body dry before wearing his clothes. After walking out of the room, Shen Tian met Zhang Yunxi, who was staring directly at him and standing 5 steps away. She looked at Shen Tian calmly. Brother Shen Tian finished bathing. Do you need to bathe a little longer? Shen Tian shook his head, smiled, and said, there's no need. Fairy Zhang, we can leave whenever you're ready. Zhang Yunxi looked at the room next door deeply. If that's the case, then let's go. After pushing open the door, Shen Tian saw eunuch Gui and Qin Gao, who had black faces and just awoken. Zhang Yunxi said calmly, the two of you, follow us too. Eunuch Gui and Qin Gao looked at each other. Their eyes were full of worry. It's too dangerous for His Highness to bring this female demon to seek and assess ores. What if His Highness fails to obtain anything good from the ore, then she is unsatisfied and takes it all out on His Highness. When thinking of that, the two of them nodded their heads. They followed behind Shen Tian and Zhang Yunxi in preparation to protect His Highness at any time. They headed toward the Sky Spirit Pavilion. As the sky turned dark, the number of people walking on the streets gradually decreased. In addition, Shen Tian had already changed out of his Dao robe, and only his two mustaches were left. Thus, on their way to the Sky Spirit Pavilion, no one's attention was attracted. The Sky Spirit Pavilion was already preparing to close, and there were few people in the store. Only Lu Zhijia, Lucky Man A's full name, Lu Tai, Lucky Man B's full name, and Xiong Meng were still there. They were the founding members of Believers, so they were discussing the matter of people entering the sect with Shopkeeper Song. Shopkeeper Song, don't be so humble. There's no one other than you that can be the Grand Elder of Believers. Yes. Shopkeeper Song, I, Lu Taiji, had never been amazed by anyone. You're the first. Upon hearing Zhen Jijia's and Lu Tai's flattering words, Shopkeeper Song's face was full of smiles. He waved his hand and said, "You're flattering me. How do I dare to exceed my place? The Believers were created by the three of you. The three of you should become the Grand Elders." Zhen Jijia said, "Shopkeeper Song, you're too humble." Lu Tai said, "I think you're worthy of the spot." Xiong Meng said, "I think so too." Shopkeeper Song's smile became more and more pleasantly warm. However, he still spoke firmly. "How could I? The Believers belong to Master Celestial. Deciding the Grand Elder is a huge matter. How could we decide by ourselves behind Master Celestial's back?" After thinking for a moment, he said, "Why don't we wait till tomorrow and let Master Celestial decide?" Just as Shopkeeper Song finished, he saw a man that was wearing a white shirt step through the door. When the four of them looked carefully, they saw a handsome face and those unrestrained mustaches. Who else could it be than the Master Celestial they were talking about? Is it possible that Master Celestial can see the future, so he predicted our situation and came personally to solve our problem? 1. A Chinese idiom which means that there must be a cause for an effect. Chapter 60. The Primordial Battlefields, or you are listening at novelfull.audio. Master Celestial, we missed you so much. Why didn't you tell me you were coming beforehand? Upon seeing Shen Tian, the four of them hurriedly walked up to him. Shen Tian's mouth twitched, and he said hurriedly, "You're not allowed to hug my legs anymore." The four of them exchanged gazes and silently nodded. Indeed, everyone's analysis results were correct. The same method to curry favor could not be used a second time. Xiong Meng had a straightforward personality, so he immediately asked, "Master Celestial, can you really predict the future? Did you come to help solve our problem?" Shen Tian was slightly stunned. "Problem? What problem?" Lu Tai replied, "Dear Master Celestial, we hope for Shopkeeper Song to take the position of our sect's Grand Elder." Shopkeeper Song shook his head. "How do I dare, it's not appropriate." After hearing their arguments, Shen Tian felt that they were idiots. What Believers? Isn't it just my unofficial fan club? Just the leader of this fan club is worth fighting for. Shen Tian said, "Who is the Grand Elder now?" Lu Tai raised his hand gradually. "It's me." Shen Tian asked again, "Then why give it to Shopkeeper Song?" Lu Tai replied seriously, "I am incompetent. I have no face to hold the position and do no useful work. Shopkeeper Song is famous for being a good, honest shopkeeper of Myriad Spirit Garden. If he becomes the Grand Elder, then our Believers will have fundings in the future. Also, our comrades in the sect could have a discount when buying spirit ores. It'll be more convenient to attract more members to join our sect." After Lu Tai finished, Shopkeeper Song's face darkened by quite a few shades. "I knew that you were up to no good. You just want to take advantage of me by telling me to become the Believers' Grand Elder." Provide fundings for the Salivers. If that was what Shantian needed, shopkeeper Song would be willing to please him, no matter the number of spirit stones, as that was all to become fated with him. The problem was that Salivers members were only the fated people with Master Celestial. They were not related to shopkeeper Song, so why should he give them discounts? It was obvious that those three wanted to take advantage of shopkeeper Song. Shantian nodded slightly. What you said sounds quite reasonable. Shopkeeper Song, what do you think? If Shantian were not present, shopkeeper Song would definitely reject that suggestion without hesitation. The problem was that Master Celestial seemed to be able to predict the future and actually came to ask him personally. That made shopkeeper Song overthink. Is it possible that Master Celestial is testing if I am loyal? If I am willing to devote myself to Salivers? When thinking of that, shopkeeper Song gritted his teeth. If I can maintain my fate with Master Celestial, then I'll do it. He nodded and said, I am willing to contribute to our sect. If I am the sect's Grand Elder, I am willing to provide for all the fundings. As long as our sect members buy ores in my shop, there would be a 12% discount for them. As long as sect members make a huge profit, the ore cutting fee will be reduced by half. Shopkeeper Song's great promise stunned Shantian. OMG. He's really willing to sacrifice his profits. Although a spirit or shop's profits were impressive, the short-term income would decrease greatly after shopkeeper Song's discount. Of course, if Salivers increased in size, it would provide many customers for Sky Spirit Pavilion. Whether the shop would gain benefits or suffer losses would depend on the Salivers' development in the future. No matter what, it could be said to be a risky gamble for shopkeeper Song. Shopkeeper Song's not simple to be able to have such courage. If that's the case, then shopkeeper Song will take up the position of Grand Elder. Shantian was extremely moved, so he accepted shopkeeper Song's plea. Meanwhile, though shopkeeper Song was in tears, he felt the pain from his loss. However, as long as Master Celestial was happy, everything was worth it. Zhang Yunxi frowned as she looked at shopkeeper Song's and the others' performances. According to her experience of destroying various evil cults in Eastern Wilderness these years, she felt that the four of them were definitely members of an evil sect. They were fanatic, irrational, and worshipped a certain person. Emphasis was placed on sacrificing one's benefits for the organization. These were definitely evil spirits' rules and guidelines. However, Zhang Yunxi had carefully observed Shantian, deeming him as someone unaffiliated with evil sections. That's weird. Did Shantian collude with evil spirit or not? Let's observe for a while more to see if he really knows how to seek and assess ores. Zhang Yunxi secretly decided in her heart. Shantian, can we start to seek and assess ores? Yes. Fairy Zhang, please wait for a moment, Shantian replied and nodded slightly. On the way here, Shantian had been gritting his teeth and persevering. In the end, he clearly saw the lucky opportunity on top of Zhang Yunxi's head. He slowly walked toward the shelf of spirit ores at the side and started searching. Shortly after, he stopped in front of a large spirit ore that was around 1 meter tall. The ore was purple, and a light pattern could be seen on it. What attracted one's attention the most were the cracks that filled its surface. The cracks looked just like a spiderweb, and it seemed like the ore would crumble any time. Upon seeing that Shantian had taken a liking to that spirit ore, shopkeeper Song approached him and explained, Master Celestial, you have good eyes. This spirit organ has been dug out of the primordial battlefield. It's also the most treasured ore in this shop. This ore is from the primordial battlefield. Shopkeeper Song's explanation shocked everyone. The primordial battlefield referred to an ancient battlefield to the east of Country of Fire. It was said that 10,000 years ago, it had once been the battlefield of Eastern Wilderness sacred grounds and evil fiends from the outside. Countless strong cultivators had died there before, leaving behind many precious treasures and inheritance. Of course, the formidable cultivators that had died 10,000 years ago were too many, so the murderous aura there was astonishing. Therefore, countless fearsome evil creatures were born there, and the battlefield was full of danger. Each year, many cultivators from major sects would enter the battlefield to train. The lucky ones might benefit greatly from fortuitous encounters, while the unlucky ones might directly die there. Meanwhile, many ores from the primordial battlefield had been brought out. No one knew what could be obtained from the 10,000-year-old ores, but that did not hinder rich cultivators from going after the ores like a flock of ducks. Although it was difficult to preserve many things, such as spirit pills and artifacts, in the passage of 10,000 years, there were plenty of treasures that could easily last through the long years. For example, divine pills and artifacts that were above spirit pills and artifacts in terms of grade, which would be in the precious treasures list. Or, some lost supreme ancient imperial sutra recorded in skill jades. According to the rumors, the ore, from which the legendary saint from the Purple Mansion sacred ground had obtained the Nirvana Immortal Imperial Sutra, had been dug out from another primordial battlefield near the Purple Mansion sacred ground. The whole eastern wilderness had been shocked by that discovery. The saint from Purple Mansion sacred ground was even highly regarded by everyone. In everyone's minds, he was definitely the only Providence. Blessed being in the eastern wilderness. A complete imperial sutra could even allow a sacred ground to prosper. Even if the saint from Purple Mansion sacred ground had only obtained the top half of the Nirvana Sutra, it had been enough to build a strong foundation for the Purple Mansion sacred ground. Such a fortuitous opportunity was something that could not even be compared to any amount of spirit stones or spirit crystals. Meanwhile, this purple ore that had spiderweb marks was from the primordial battlefield near the country of fire. Its selling price was 100,000 spirit stones.